Master says that self-inquiry is the best method not only for purification of the mind, but also for realizing the real self. Self-inquiry is the best. So our mind may say that we are already ready. I can understand. I'm intelligent. Why you are wasting my time? Start with the best method. Don't give me the secondary method. I am meant for the best method. How many of you have that idea in your mind? I can understand. So there are two things. I have an intense desire for permanent peace and happiness, one thing. But am I a seeker? So I am not a seeker. Hence, the best method will come later. Cause of the ignorance is the duality. What is duality? We always experience favorable and unfavorable condition. Cause of the unfavorable and favorable condition are the merits and demerits. Cause of the merits and demerits that I am attached with the body, and attachment with the body causes the sorrow and the suffering, and the cause of the sorrow and the suffering is ignorance, and the cause of the ignorance. So what we have to do, we have to remove the ignorance. We have to remove the ignorance of the self. I want a self-knowledge. There is a self-ignorance. And to remove that self-ignorance, I have to become a seeker. And to become a seeker, I have to purify the mind. Did you understand? You can go through it again. So that is what happens. That is the sequential. That is the step by step. So then what is the best method? Best method is to listen to the teacher and learn from it. But is my mind prepared for it? No. So I should go for the conventional methods. We have been covering the conventional methods for a couple of weeks. So how to judge yourself? How many times until the last session? How many times you were upset, you were anxious, you reacted, you felt the stress, you did not get your sleep? How many times you had a craving for an object, and then your mind was a little bit sad, I don't have this. I don't have a job. I'm already unemployed, jobless, knowledgeless. Do you see that? So it gives a clue to us that how many times I was in stress and duality and in conflict, reacted not only physically, mentally, but inside me. I am burning inside. I didn't say anything. I reacted inside, but I didn't say anything. That gives me a clue that I did not apply the conventional methods in my life to purify the mind. Did you get it? Say yes. So it means I did not apply the conventional methods in my daily living, whether it's a personal life, professional life, social life, for the purification of the mind. So the mind is not ready for the best method. What is the best method is the self-inquiry. What is the element of the self-inquiry is listening and learning from a teacher and directly putting the knowledge into the mind. Ask the next question. What should I do? I have an intense desire for permanent peace and happiness. One question. But question is, am I qualified? So when I am qualified, I am a seeker. Anyone can have an intense desire. Who doesn't want to become Bill Gates? Tell me, who doesn't want to become Tesla? Elon Musk. But we never ask the question, am I a seeker? Do you understand? See the beauty of understanding. So, okay, so you are asking me that, do you think that I'm not a seeker? I've been attending your session for the last many years. You give me a certificate that I'm a seeker. That doesn't work. Even if I give you a certificate. And who the hell I am to give you a certificate? So now see, do you still remember Vidya dadati vinyam vinyam dadati patratvam? There are 5 factors we discussed. And also I discussed about this verse. The knowledge, I received the knowledge from a teacher, I reflected on it, and because that has given a sense of humility. Learning and listening, contemplation and reflection and practice gave me the humility, and the humility makes me qualified seeker. When I am a qualified seeker, then it gives me the inner wealth that will give you the answer of how many times I got upset until the last station. And the inner wealth gives you the purification of the mind. The purified mind makes the mind steady. And then you are listening from a teacher that I am the real self, you realize it. No, it's too much. So remember the 5 factors of the focus? Do you remember the effort like a crow? Focus like a crane? Rest like a dog? Filter unwanted, unwelcome thoughts? Plus also filter unwanted food that causes the disturbances in the body and makes it uncomfortable. So now, the conventional method and the best method should go together. Conventional method changes our attitude, our behavior, our responses to the world. That changes every moment. We don't know what is going to come next moment. So I have the tools available in my personal life, in my professional life, in my social life, in my family life. Huh? Do you see that? Conventional methods are the tools available to you. You are equipped with it to respond. So what happens? You have already started living in meditation, even though your mind does not realize it. So the best method of self-inquiry will help us to realize this is what we are looking for. Are you getting it? Say yes. Sometimes we have a lot of money in our pocket, but we forgot. And I have seen it. Then I said, no, check your pocket. Oh, now I remember. So the conventional methods bring about an inner change in our attitude, in our behavior, in our responses. They both should go together. They both should go together. There is another objection coming from the many people, especially they are self-proclaimed intellectuals. That is why they do not attend the program. That's why you don't, if you want to study the Eastern wisdom in its entirety, in its originality, not many people are interested. So they are self-proclaimed intellectuals who says mindfulness is a waste of time because you are fully busy. And that is why you are awful. You don't see the relationship between the restfulness and activity. And there comes the conventional methods to apply. And then we continue to suffer. And that is why we say conventional methods minimizes the challenges, the stress, the suffering, the duality, the conflict. It becomes a shock absorber. It becomes a tool for the emotional freedom. When you are talking to your honey, you're talking at a professional level, at your workplace, you are talking outside. You are relating yourself to anything in the world. So that is why I picked up one thing that my mind should first remember, recollect, and then it should repeat every day. How it should repeat? Visualize Ganesha, Lord Ganesha, but then I have to contemplate and reflect. What I have to contemplate and reflect? Large ears means it follows the listening and learning the principles. So normally what people do, they simply look at the Ganesha. Ganesha, you give me the wealth and you give me the peace. Ganesha is not listening to you. No, I'm not listening to you. You're not a seeker. Sometimes it happens, we avoid people, even if they keep on talking. So even if you claim that Ganesha is a lively God or a superhuman being, no. Our master says, no, you should go back to yourself. You have to be a seeker. So Ganesha symbolically means the large ears, means I am aware and alert in listening. The principles represent listening and learning. The large head means I contemplate and reflect. If you look at the picture of Ganesha, you'll see a very large, big head. Big head means that I contemplate and reflect. Small mouth means that I want to listen more and talk less. That is symbolic. But you have been talking too much. Yes, I'm talking sense. I'm talking common sense. So you can talk as much as common sense, not the nonsense. And he has only one task. That means the mind wants to follow what is right and good. Mind wants to remain the seeker in the personal, professional, social, family life, and all the time, 24/7. I have no other option. I have only one option. What is that option? Of peace and happiness. Finish. Whatever the situation, whatever may be the situation outside, let the situation change, let the people change, let the relationship change. Only one option. Did you get it? Say yes. So I have only one option. And the Ganesha has the small eyes. So we normally, sometimes we want to focus on something, we squeeze our eyes to see, what is that, let me focus. Is it really Sam is here or not? So yes. They are representative. They are representative of making me a seeker. And a large belly. Large belly means I can consume any kind of a thought from the world that is coming to me in my relationship with whom I am living daily. They are not learning Eastern wisdom. I'm learning. So it is my responsibility to remain calm. Someone says you are crazy, so that craziness, it's representative. Craziness goes to the belly and you digest. It doesn't affect. You don't say, how dare you? How dare you? Because you are crazy. That's why they are saying it. Question of daring you does not come. The self-inquiry. So that that introduction helps us to understand the self-inquiry is the best method for the purification of the mind. But unless I build a basis in my life, in my thought, in my speech, in my action, at the physical level, at the verbal level, at the mental level, at the emotional level, this best method cannot be practiced. Best method for the why self-inquiry? Because of self-ignorance. Understand again, the goal is still the same. Upanishad says, Asato ma satgamaya. Move from the false to the truth. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Move from ignorance to knowledge. So if I say self-ignorance to self-knowledge. Why? Because I'm suffering. I'm living in ignorance. I don't know who am I. No, I know. So then I become a self-proclaimed intellectual. I have an intense desire for permanent peace. At the same time, I know who am I. So what I know, I want to keep all the craving, the pleasure-seeking mind. At the same time, I want permanent happiness. Not possible. Are you getting it? So it means I'm a non-seeker. So I go back. I have to purify the mind again. Do you see? So you have to understand the entire circle. So here the master says that self-inquiry has been taught and discussed in detail by our great master, the originator of yoga, Eastern wisdom, meditation, mindfulness. Later on, Buddha and other masters came. The Gita, one of the major texts of Eastern wisdom, has 700 verses, and Krishna teaches to the greatest seeker, whose name is Arjuna, and Krishna applied the best method, even though he discussed the conventional methods, but he explained why. Because Arjuna was a great seeker. No, you were talking about intense desire. I have an intense desire for permanent peace. And then you said, no, whether you have an intense desire for peace and happiness, but are you a seeker? Because I have an intense desire for peace and happiness, But I am not a seeker. I cannot discern what I cannot discern. I cannot discern that peace and happiness are located in me unless I'm 100% clear they are within me. Nothing outside can give me permanent peace and happiness because not a single person, a situation, and event has a property of peace and happiness outside. Unless I have clarity of this understanding, then go back to the same question, how many times you were upset since the last session? 5 times. So those 5 events, 5 times, you lost an awareness that happiness lies within me. It does not lie. You see the logic. You see the clarity of understanding. So Arjuna was a great seeker. I will also start thinking the way Arjuna starts thinking. Yes, you may think just now, but then your mind you will forget. Why you will forget? Because of the impurity of the mind. Now I'm telling you what Arjuna told Krishna in the first chapter, 700 verses. So normally there is a tradition that you listen to the teacher, and the teacher explains each and every verse, the dialogue between the two, and ultimately the journey. In the journey, we realize the real self. So Arjuna asked, I know I am in stress and suffering. I know I have a lot of shortcomings, but now I am totally committed to learning the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. One question. I'm committed, he told Krishna. And then second thing he told, you please guide me. I don't know who am I. One question. And second question, you guide me what is best, right, and good for me. Why? I don't know. So when we don't follow the conventional method and it is not assimilated in your mind, then what will happen? I know what is good for me. I create a sense of ego. It doesn't work. So that is why we need to have a conventional method. Listening knowledge of the real self is the power that ends suffering. I discussed a lot of points. I will repeat it in order to make it clear. Now, then many people have an objection because they don't follow the conventional method. What is the objection? They start giving an example from the science. We should use the science wherever it fits. I'm talking of subjective reality. I want to know the real self. Which curriculum, which branch of the science gives me the knowledge of the real self? No, none. So, seeker's mind is focused on real self, self-knowledge, moving from the self-ignorance to self-knowledge. Focus like a crane. Your mind is focused on self-knowledge, 80%. Only the best method is the self-inquiry. You listen and learn and you will reach to that state. This is what the master says. Then Krishna makes a point in that I want to put it before we will start our practice. that the knowledge, self-knowledge, self-knowledge by self-inquiry is the most powerful method to purify the mind. Taking into consideration, I have an intense desire, then I'm a seeker. That is why my master hardly used to give any practice. He always talked about the best method is the vichar karo. He used to say vichar. That is what I say, the self-inquiry. And it's the traditional wisdom. Let us see one example of the self-inquiry. I will remind you, I talked about this young guy who was hurt. So when I get hurt, do you remember the young guy who got hurt with his fourth and fifth, I don't remember, fourth and fifth relationship. And then he said that I am hurt. When I say I am hurt, so I have a thought pertaining to the heart and the reaction and the anger and the anxiety. I have a disturbed sleep. So I keep on thinking about the heart or anxiety or reaction or emotional bondage. And then what I say, oh, the time heals after a week, then I realize there is no use of thinking about getting hurt. Why don't you start with the knowledge? So in order to put him into the knowledge, do you remember I asked him that give me 3 benefits of getting hurt? You are hurt, so give me 3 benefits of the heart. And if you give me 3 benefits and I recognize and realize it, I will also receive heart from everyone every day because I'm getting a benefit. Do you know? This is the way of the self-inquiry. I've already introduced. So normally what I do, I always introduce in a very subtle way in the previous session what I'm going to talk in the next session. But if you do contemplation and reflection, you will recognize. So then I told him that how long you are going to chase claiming the reality of a mirror as water. Oh, do you mean to say the heart is like a mirror as water? I said, yes. But I experience. I said, I know. You experience. But what do you experience may not be true. Are you getting it? Are you clear? I have told you many times. So these are the ways we have to do the self-inquiry. We will continue our journey of the self-inquiry, this method. So let us close your eyes and start our journey. So eyes are closed, position of the body, position of the body. And so the position of the body is comfortable. Eyes are closed. You're not struggling. And again, I'm using, you see that again. Excuse me. Your mind is not struggling to remain comfortable at the physical level. Your eyes are almost not blinking. Is it not a way to be a seeker, plus having an intense desire? And then you look at the neck joint being there, feel. What do you feel? Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. And then you see the space inside. You know, when I say you're moving the mind inside, fact is that you are dropping the objects of the world that causes the thought, feeling, and the lot of stuff in the mind. But there is no other phrase to use. So look at the shoulder joint being there. Feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. And after that, you find the emptiness and the space. Awareness of the entire body. Awareness means you know here is your body, and then you know here is an experience of sensation, comfort, and steadiness. And after that, your mind moves deeper within. I'm using the specific. You have to understand now what it means by going within, inside or outside. In that state of being comfortable, you have an element of discernment and dispassion. That is the meaning of moving inside. Where you can go inside the body, inside the bone, inside the cell. No, we are not talking of that. Be very clear. And then being carefree. So here again you see being carefree. I'm using a metaphor, lane one, unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. So you're not fighting with that. You jump into the lane two. How? Discernment. You can only jump into the lane two when you recognize that they are unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. I'm not running after them. I'm staying here. So that becomes a lane two. And the moment you are in the lane two, you're already in the lane three. Be very clear. I discussed in detail about these three lanes in the mental highway. And now, whatever the impurity is left, let us use the mantra. So we use the mantra that is known as invoking auspiciousness. Sarve Sham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. So as you already know, we recite the mantra, we go to the meaning. Let everyone be happy. Okay, everyone will be happy. Why? Because every living species is looking for happiness, including me. And there is only one possibility, that happiness is located within every being. As a human being, I can discover it, and that is why I'm doing it. It's kind of purification. It is invoking auspiciousness. Remember. Sarveshvam Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Let there be peace for all. That is the meaning. But then we go a little deeper and we are again doing this self-inquiry. You see that contemplation and reflection is going on. Oh, so the peace, everyone is seeking peace, directly or indirectly. We are not taught to seek peace, but by default, every being. Conclusion that peace is our essential nature. We are of the nature of peace that I need to realize in me. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Let there be wholeness in all. Wholeness, completeness, holy. If existence is whole and complete, if I'm the creation of the existence, I must be whole. But I'm living in incompleteness, hence I have to discover that wholeness. That is what the Eastern wisdom is. Why the mind is impure? It keeps on thinking that I'm incomplete. That is why it says, how dare you say that I'm crazy? Because I feel there is some sense of craziness in me. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Let there be auspiciousness for all. Invoking auspiciousness is one of the many ways we change the track of the mind. What is it? Changing the track means what? We change the track of the mind from the impurity to the purity. For example, the young guy heard, and I said, do you recite this mantra? No, I cannot think good of her. Why I can't think good of her? Because I'm hurt. So hurt, I cannot think good for her. So it will create millions of impressions in our mind, and that will cause the impurity. Look at this. You have to look very deeply. And now we have replaced the unwanted, unwelcome thought. We will continue our journey for the purification of the mind, looking deep inside the forehead. There you mentally say, what do you say? Om Shanti. Very good. And now start breathing short and gentle breath from the chest. Even chest breathing. Just keep on breathing, body remains steady, and Om Shanti continues deep inside the forehead. Remember expansion and contraction of the rib cage. That will indicate your breathing pattern. First breathing is right. And now stop this, do nothing, experience the changes, recognize and accept those changes in experiences. Om Shanti continues deep inside the forehead in the space. So you see that, can you understand that? We keep the focus intact and at the same time, we are purifying the mind. And now is the time to go for the belly, breathing. It's a longer breath, expansion and contraction of the belly. You see, you are not fighting with the mind to breathe. The mind goes with you, mind supports you. But if you're fighting with the mind will create reaction. That reaction is itself is the impurity. Obviously, it's a longer breath than the chest breathing. And with that breathing, you're conscious that you have an expansion and the squeezing of the belly with the breath during inhalation and exhalation. Om Shanti continues. Body remain totally steady except the movement of the belly. And stop this breathing also. Om Shanti continues, and you are aware. You recognize the changes that is taking place in the body, in the mind, vision, colors, experiences, changes. We just accept it. And now is the time to go for both the belly and the chest breathing. You need not to be fast. Keep an Om Shanti. First, you inhale into the belly, expands, then the chest in one breath, and then you squeeze the belly and the chest. Long, deep. And possibly the hissing sound is there. That's okay. So you pay attention to the inhalation, expansion, and expansion of the belly and the chest. You pay attention to exhalation, the squeezing of the belly and the ribs. Long, deep in the hissing breath, Om Shanti continues deep inside the forehead in the state of sensation, relaxation, and stillness in the body, except the movement of the belly and the chest. And stop it. Breath is normal. Look at the triangle deep inside the cave of your heart, pointing the equilateral triangle, pointing upward. Move the mind on the triangle to just check the sync, dropping Om Shanti on each side. And depending on how you say Om Shanti on each side, mind remains there. And that is what I mean by the sync clockwise and anti-clockwise. When you find that sync, you say, oh, how do you know that? Unwanted, unwelcome thoughts are too far from you. Everything is so clear. The moment you feel that, You say mentally, pushing the mind from the center of a triangle deep inside your heart. Shanti, self-absorption. You see that when we talk of the heart is the seat of the consciousness. We are not talking of the physical heart, of pumping the blood. No. Metaphorically, it is the seat of your consciousness. It is the seat of the real self. Don't start thinking of the physical heart. And now go to the japa. 16 points are there. Mind's eye, mind's ear, mind's tongue, mind's skin. Until you see, feel, touch. Shanti. You're invoking that energy. You'll have a validation. What is that validation? Desire is the impurity of the prana in the mind. What is the desire now? Om Shanti. It will free the energy, prana. And that's why we feel lot of sensation, vision, colors. Keep on. I know we all have discussed how you do it. You don't physically touch, you don't speak loudly. Everything is happening in the mind. That is why I said it's the mind's eye, mind's tongue, mind's skin, mind's ear. You feel unusual sensations on these segments of the mind, of the fingers. So that's a validation that we are doing the practice correctly. That is only the validation. It doesn't mean that we have to live with those experiences. Our goal is different. Goal is different. Keep on, continue. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside. Know your experiences, will share our experiences. Now, how are you, Stephen and Sam?
Good. Thank you for that again. I like the topic of self-inquiry, self-reflection, because I understand how important it is, because of the fact that we can't control anything outside of our own control. So if we turn everything that we experience in the moment, throughout the day, throughout our lives, to ourselves, it gives us that ability to apply the principles that you're teaching. What I'm realizing is that we're not in search of self-awareness, of pure consciousness. Pure consciousness exists, and it's always with us. It's the muck that's around us that we put too much concentration on and give it the power that takes over everything. So that self-inquiry really brings it back full circle to realize that I am pure consciousness. Therefore, everything else is in my control to not allow into my space. So as far as my experience, my meditation goes, it was just a even flow, filled with moments of being cold, moments of being hot, and just pure quietness. So it's good. Thank you.
It's a beautiful narration, beautiful explanation. And the most beautiful part is that the self-inquiry does not mean that we are inquiring where is the real self. It is already there. It is always present. What we are doing through this self-inquiry, we are removing the veil over the real self, present in the mind, that prevents us and forces us to live in ignorance. It's a beautifully put. How are you, Sam?
I'm good. The meditation was very easy today and peaceful.
Peaceful. Yes. Listen to it again and start living. So very important that we should we should apply the conventional methods along with the self-inquiry to be there. How are you, Terry?
I felt light and coolness,
Cool. That's very good.
and just concentration.
Yeah.
And the unwanted thoughts, I didn't
Pay
hold on.
attention.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't follow.
Yeah.
And it took all of my effort.
Yeah.
So then there was nothing else. That's all.
You did. You made a very good point, because when I recognize unwanted, unwelcome thoughts are there, and I need not to do anything.
Yeah.
So I don't have to make any effort.
Usually I think, oh, why did I think that? But I didn't this time.
You didn't do this time. That is how the learning and the practice helps us in each and every session. We have a realization.
Yeah.
That there is nothing to make an effort when unwanted thought enters into the mind. I need not to do anything. But the mind realizes after many, many sessions that is normal to everyone. How are you, Anastasia?
Thank you very much for this lesson and practice. It was really deep practice. I had a lot of images and memories from my childhood that were during the breathing belly. When I when I was scared as a child, I had that memories, and then I was just calm, and an interesting happened. I sat uncomfortably a little bit. My heel was not itching or in pain because another heel was pressing it, and my mind concentrated on this pain a little bit, and then I recognized that this is only about focus, because I can feel this mental touch on my fingers, and my mind still is preferring to feel the pain because I don't know why. So yeah, and I am very thankful.
Very good. You raised a very good point, and this is what happens. That is where we can understand these. Uh, so, take an example of that young man that he says, I was hurt." So that hurt, the moment you recognize it is an unwelcome, unwanted thought, done, finished. Same thing with any itching, any discomfort, any pain in the body. I'm not the body. Finished. That is the starting point. And then I feel the pain in the body. So I discern and it is naturally separated. So, these are the tools for the self-inquiry. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm good. Very calm.
Really calm. Very good. Keep on continue. How are you, Samir?
Sir, I think that self-inquiry is talking to yourself. Whenever your mind is going into wrong direction, or which is towards sorrow, unhappiness, putting your mind or your means things into right direction by correct thinking is self-inquiry, I think. Because what is right and what is to be done and the principles which we follow and with the purpose which we are doing meditation is to be followed. That is self-inquiry. Whenever we are taking a wrong turn, our mind is taking a wrong turn, put it into right direction is self-inquiry.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to talk in detail what exactly is the self-inquiry. That putting into right direction, it means I'm aware of what is wrong. So the mind is aware of what is wrong, and then the intellect puts it into the right direction. So we have to deal in detail about this self-inquiry. Before that, the conventional methods, we should apply these conventional methods to keep the mind in the purified state. How are you, Ashok?
Sir, self-inquiry means to move the path from the Shreyas.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
if we
That's
move
what-
path from the
yeah.
Shreyas and examine our mind in which direction it is moving and negating the prayers, you can say. So
Yeah.
that will working in that.
Yeah.
Meditation
Yeah.
was and when we are observing ourselves and finding the uh, uh, finding the bad points, or you can say that is not in the favor of Shreyas.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens, it comes later on, just when we reacted, then we came to know immediately, oh, it is, we should not do like this.
Yeah, we reacted, and later on we repent on the reaction. So how to prevent that? Use the conventional method. That is
Purification of
what.
the mind.
So continue to apply the conventional methods in your daily living. What the daily living consists of? Thought, speech, and action. I have to think about you. I have to respond to you. I have to act in a particular situation, event, or celebrations. So then again, I have to connect it to the Shreyas, what you and Samir is saying. So what is right and good? So I should be very clear what is right and good. One example, right and good for me should also be right and good for you. I don't want anyone should react to me. So it means I should not react to anyone. Right? Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So that process of thinking starts in the mind. So when that process of thinking starts in the mind is getting purified now. So when the mind is purified, in that moment of purified state of the mind, self-inquiry becomes the biggest challenge. We will understand that self-inquiry in our following sessions. Until then, thank you very much. Thank you. Be
Thank you,
happy.
sir.
Thank you.
Namaste, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.